Hey, what's up? How's it going? It has been a little while. Basically, I have been doing a lot of work in the studio, but every week has been on repeat since our last video, where like I have packed to go to a market, and then I've done a market, and then I've unpacked for the market. I've also been doing a bunch of like social media stuff and SEO stuff, and then I've just been doing like little bits of kind of creative work in between. So I don't know, I just didn't think it was particularly exciting. I just didn't really have like much to say or much to show you. But yeah, it's because I can't do like a pack for the market for me every single week, because basically I do the same thing every single week. But that's just summer season. Like, I'm really into doing as many markets as possible in summer, especially with the new collection. But this week, because I actually have managed to tie up a few loose ends, I thought it might be fun to look through my sketchbook. I actually don't have a sketchbook as such. I'm like quite chaotic in that way. I prefer to just get things down on paper as soon as they pop into my head. Sometimes I'll leave them forever, sometimes I'll dive straight into them, sometimes I'll leave them for a week and then like come back to them, but it's just the way that I process work. I know a lot of people like get an idea and they study in their sketchbooks. Other people like plan out collections and then kind of go from there. But I've tried doing loads of ways of working, and what works for me best is like sometimes I'll just see something and I'll know that something about it speaks to me, and I just kind of get a rough sketch down and then I work on that from there later on, because I might not know what's like enticed me to something immediately, but then later on down the line I'll be like, oh, I remember that whatever I saw, you know, like 5 years ago, and I've got a great idea for a piece now. So that's just kind of the way that I've learned that I'm best working over the years. But for my exhibition, I actually put together loads of pieces of paper in one of these folders, so people could see a lot of the time like the starting point and then could see the ending point for the pieces on the wall. So I thought it might be fun just to go through that. My work's inspired by loads of different things. Travel is a huge one. Also what I'm like listening to, what I'm watching, what I'm reading, all those things obviously influence my work as well. So we just kind of go through it and chat about that sort of thing, if that sounds fun. So the first one's just a little painting I did while in Mexico. I like the idea of like these beautiful flowers that they use, and the kind of Day of the Dead celebrations, and like giving something as a sort of like a gift of life, I suppose this one kind of represents. This is just some skull practice. I do loads of skulls. I wanted to do skulls in different colours. Some are absolute duds in here as well. Like this one, I got some fluoro paint and I was just playing around with it, and it's not something that I would sell or use, it's just practice. This is an unfinished piece that I really want to finish. It's got like some really nice fabric and skulls. I've been reading Empire the Vampire, and I think it kind of came from there because they're in like kind of church settings and stuff a lot, and there's like a lot of death, and it kind of, that's the vibe. This is Giles. He is a gargoyle from St Giles Cathedral at Edinburgh. He looks something like this in real life. I'll put the pictures here. I took the reference images. I don't know, out of all the gargoyles, he really appealed to me. And actually, turned him into a screen print. I do this with a lot of my work. I will put it into the iPad and then turn it into line drawing and a screen print, but I kind of like to start with a painting, which is a bit backwards, but it's just the way I like to work. These were Christmas cards. They were the Christmas bats from a couple of years ago. A lot of my cards start off as paintings as well. I might finish them on the iPad. I might just scan them straight in. This is another one from Mexico, very Day of the Dead vibes. That was another, just in my bones phase at that point. I just love doing skeletons. Another skeleton. This was definitely Walking Dead inspired. The kind of, again, themes of life and death. I know this because the next one is Zombie Bob, who is one of my favourite zombies from The Walking Dead. It's later on in the series where kind of like nature starts to like combine with the zombies, and I just think that's so cool. This is a little another skeleton. He is just an acrylic painting, kind of inspired from, you know, that like famous Picasso painting where he's this skeleton like the cigarette. It's just very cool vibes. So I wanted to do like cool blue to like represent how just cool and vibey he was. That was the start of a Christmas card. More colourful bones. There's absolutely no rhyme or reason to the sketchbook. It's just my chaotic thoughts. Welcome to my mind. This one is a trip to Skye. This walk is called Kerrang. I've actually used that in a greetings card. I've turned it all into a nighttime scene and have a little hare jumping across it. My dragons were also inspired quite a lot by Skye, because I just imagine like dragons like hanging out on those like old landscapes. I don't know, it feels very like dragons would hang out around the Cullens and Skye. It's just the way my imagination works. There's a bat that was also a Christmas card. That was just a little pencil drawing. Another one that became a Christmas card was some dragons. Oh yeah, this one was a first pass at a 20 by 20 painting. It ended up being this one. This is what I mean, like sketchbooks for me are very like rough practice. Like it doesn't have to be finished, doesn't have to work out. I just need to get it down first, and then I can be like, oh no, that's not what I wanted, and then I know where to go from there. Then there's other ones like this one, that was from the latest collection. And then the finished one is this. This was inspired a lot by kind of like armour and the medieval vibes, and I went to the portrait gallery to look at some of the paintings of armour and stuff there, but also it was heavily inspired by Clone Wars and Star Wars in general. So that's the helmet shape is actually more similar to a stormtrooper than it would be like a knight of ye olde times. But yeah, it was the idea of kind of battle and rebirth, and again life and death, but done in a slightly different way, because that's just my obsession. This is a little painting I've not actually done anything with yet. It was just a cute little lamppost and a churchyard. I used the window from the churchyard in a screen print that I did, but I've not really done anything with this one yet. But that's an upcoming piece. This is a little painting of my dog being a savage at the full moon, and then that ended up being that screen print there. It's just another little gargoyle. I don't think he went anywhere, but he's very cute. And then this, see what I mean, rough. This is a rough sketch. This is just an idea that I had walking through. I think it's this. Oh no, this is a light from in town in Edinburgh. And then it ended up, this was the screen, this was the kind of final print. And then this was the original painting of a little knight. And then I went into it digitally, and I still wasn't 100% happy, but I kind of liked the feeling that I was getting. This one was from reading The Knight and the Moth. I love a fantasy book. And that ended up being this one here. So I don't know, I find it really interesting to see how other people work. Similarly with the bookmarks, there's a lot of different versions of these before I finally screen printed them. They were little kind of grotesques from inside the National Portrait Gallery. But yeah, I'd say a lot of real life inspiration. I like to take all of my own reference photos and then kind of go from there. Oh, this is another one that I just was more of a composition sketch. I kind of had an idea of using gauntlets and a sword and then having flowers, and then that ended up being this one. I've also got another little sketchbook, which is more of a sketchbook. I took this one on holiday with me. That was skulls from, again, in Mexico. I think I was really inspired by like the bright colours. I was reading Fourth Wing. There's a lot of lightning involved and dragons involved. And then I moved on to Crescent City, and that is an angel wing. And that's just like a little crescent city, little crescent moon over a glowing city. So yeah, like what I'm reading and stuff really does like inspire what I'm making. More recently, I have been Oh yeah, Legends of Vox Machina, very rough sketch of my favourite Vax. Again, it's just an idea that is nowhere near finished, but I just wanted to get it down when I was feeling my feels watching the most recent season. I've been doing these little pieces of like stonework and kind of floral pieces. I really like to use them on armour, like the ones that I just showed you actually. So that one, and then I've got them on the knuckles of that one. So I'm just looking at shapes and repeating patterns. I kind of like how it looks like a tattoo flash sheet a little bit. Hello. And then this was National Portrait Gallery. I went round and I took a bunch of like photos, and I think this was a portrait of Queen Elizabeth the First, Victoria. Let's say Elizabeth. Not great on my royals. And I really liked the way she was standing, and I really liked this like flower. I felt like it was very atmospheric. I don't know, it felt quite sad to me, but I've kind of started to modernise her by putting gauntlets on and putting that kind of detailing on armour, and I'm going to make this like chainmail. So that's like some little sketches I've been doing over the past couple of weeks when I've had a spare kind of like half hour. Sorry, quick break there. There's always these interruptions in a working studio. It's another reason I don't film very much, because there's just always some sort of machine running. The last time I tried to film, there was someone just running their engine outside the window. There's always something going on. There's always silver getting knocked out somewhere. There's always banging, but that's just what it's like being in a shared space. So what I was saying is I finished this one, which is a little gargoyle I saw on Easter Road. It's for a joint exhibition where we do 20 by 20 pieces for our open studios. I'm based at Coburg House in Leith in Edinburgh. We open up all the studios, which is in between 50 and 70 of us, depending on how many people are taking part. Twice a year, first weekend in August and first weekend in December. So yeah, we're doing a little art exhibition where we will make these little 20 by 20 boards, and then the jewelers will do 20 pieces of jewellery as well. So it's pretty cool. I also turned that one into a line drawing. I do this quite a lot. Actually, instead of showing the iPad, it's better just to show you here. So I take it into the iPad and turn it into a line drawing, and then I will turn that into screen print. I do that so it's not just a one-off piece, so I can like reuse the piece in a different way, and also it's really good practice doing line work. I also did that for, I think the last video I did was finishing this dragon piece. I have now also put that into the iPad and done a line drawing for that, and that will also be one of these little screen prints eventually when I get around to screen printing. I am meant to be not making just now and selling the things that I've made, but that's the part of my job that I don't like. I'm not great at the businessy side of running a business. I just love making things. I've literally been like making things with clay. I've been doing more and more painting. I think I've made more stuff in the time that I'm not meant to be making anything than I have done in ages. So it's always the way. My little creative brain just needs an outlet, especially when I'm doing so much admin and trying to get like my fair shop up and running properly for wholesale, and trying to get my Etsy all zhuzhed and the website all zhuzhed with the new like stuff from my exhibition in it, and applying for markets and reaching out to people, and just a lot of computer work. So when I'm doing that, like I really need the creative outlet. That's a little outlook into my chaotic creative process. I just feel like it's fun to share because I know a lot of people share like really perfect sketchbooks, and it kind of makes me feel like quite inferior when I see other people's sketchbooks or those really cool like little reels and stuff. But I think a lot of people use a sketchbook in the same way as I do, where it's literally just like a brain dump of ideas and then just see what happens with it. Or maybe they don't, maybe there's much more of a process to it. If you also like to draw or you're creative, let me know what your process is like. Is it chaotic like mine, or are you like an organized creative person? Thank you for tuning in. I will see you, I won't say next week because who knows when it will be, but I'll see you soon. I have a few cool ideas coming up. I actually have a pottery course coming up which I'm super excited about, so we will see. Maybe I'll even take you to Bow House. But I'll see you soon, wherever I am, whatever I'm doing. There is no plan around here.